The storm rises over the mountains. Wind howls through the trees. Thunder cracks, but beneath it another sound. Hooves pounding, horns blaring, dogs baying. Shapes flash in the lightning. Riders, spectral and terrible, racing across the sky. They are not men. They are not gods. They are not of this world. They are not of this time. They are the dead, racing in a spectral hunt that gathers souls in its wake. Some call it a storm, others call it a vision. Many call it a curse, but those who know whisper its true name, the Wild Hunt. I am Gregory Hallows, and this is Preserve Halloween Podcast. So welcome back, all my friends of folklore. Today's episode, we will ride with a host of spirits whose legend stretches across Europe. The Wild Hunt is both storm and story, terror and tradition, a legend that spans centuries and crosses cultures, a group of ghostly riders whose fury fills the night sky. It is a tale of gods and ghosts, of storm and spirits, of warnings and omens. It is a cavalcade of the dead, a spectral procession that reminds us why we celebrate the strange, why we cling to ritual, and to always remember the fragile veil between the living and the dead. It's why Halloween's shadow never fades, even in the winter. Fun fact, the concept of the Wild Hunt was developed by Jacob Grimm, yes, that Grimm, in his Dutch mythology book from 1835, and it was on the basis of comparative mythology. So, imagine yourself in medieval Europe. It's the heart of winter. Nights are long, days are short, and storms break suddenly across the frozen landscape. As you huddle by the fire, you hear it. Thunder rolling, the wind howling, and then the sound of hooves. Not from the ground, but from above, sweeping through the sky. Torches flicker, hounds bay, riders scream, and then, in the corner of your vision, riders flash across the clouds. They are armed, cloaked, and terrible. To see them is to risk everything. To ignore them is to invite disaster. The Wild Hunt was a legend told on long winter nights across Germany, Scandinavia, the British Isles, and beyond. It was not a myth, but a memory, something experienced, feared, and passed down. Children were warned not to wander at night. Travelers were told to bow their heads to the dirt if they heard the hunt coming. For to look directly was to be taken, to vanish, body and soul, swept into the host of the dead. The hunt came as warning of plague, of war, of famine. To see it was risk being swept away, dragged into the world of the dead. But even those who never saw it felt its presence. It was said to be led by a god, a ghost, or a cursed king. Sometimes it was Odin himself with his wolves and ravens. Sometimes it was Herne the hunter, horns upon his head. Sometimes it was simply nameless, a storm of the restless dead. The earliest roots of the hunt lie in the Norse world. Odin, the All-Father, was said to lead a host of spirits across the sky during Jol, the midwinter festival. He rode Sleipnir, his 8-legged horse, faster than any storm. At his side came wolves, ravens, and the souls of the dead. To the Norse, thunder was not just thunder. It was the sound of Odin's hunt, a storm that claimed the wandering and the weak. Like Halloween Samhain, the Norse midwinter was a liminal time. Spirits roamed, ancestors were close, and Odin's furious host blurred the line between divine procession and ghostly terror. When Christianity arrived, the memory of Odin did not fade. It simply took on new masks, becoming the hunt. So the Wild Hunt has roots in pre-Christian traditions of the dead, wandering in winter. Samhain, the Celtic New Year, already taught that spirits crossed into our world at season's turn. The Wild Hunt stretched that idea into the frozen nights of December and January. As Christianity spread, the hunt was recast. Odin became the devil. This whole concept adapted. The riders became damned souls. The devil's horde are penitent sinners. Just as Halloween itself shifted under Christian overlays, the hunt survived by taking on new masks. Fallen kings and cursed nobles took the lead. In some regions, the hunt was seen as damned souls paying penance or priests who had failed their vows. The message shifted: live rightly or join the hunt. For those of you who are comic book fans, I wonder how much this whole story became Ghost Rider, right? Even in this Christianized form, the heart remained the same. The dead walked, the storm carried them, and the living trembled. Just as Halloween became All Hallows Eve, layered with saints and prayers, the Wild Hunt kept its pagan bones beneath a Christian cloak, much like a lot of holidays. The Wild Hunt did not stay in the north. In Germany, it was said to be led by Wotan, or sometimes by a spectral woman named Holda or Perta. Remember Perta? In France, it became La Chasse Fantastique. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but it sounds classy, right? The Phantom Chase. In England, the hunt was tied to Heron the Hunter, a spectral figure with antlers upon his brow, haunting Windsor forests. In Wales, it was sometimes linked to the Mare Lwyd, a skeletal horse spirit knocking at doors in midwinter. But I've also read spectral hounds with red ears howling through the sky. In all cases, the themes were the same in each culture, just giving the hunt a different leader. But the story was always the same. It was a cavalcade of the dead sweeping through the night, a storm of spirits demanding recognition, riders in the sky, the dead among the living, omens of death and change. Sometimes there's stories of Theodoric the Great, the Danish king Valdemar Atterdag, and Sigurd the Dragon Slayer. There's these similar stories throughout all cultures. Halloween may belong to autumn, but the Wild Hunt proves that winter carried its own Halloween. It was just colder, darker, and storm-driven. What made the Wild Hunt so frightening was not just its noise and fury, but its judgment. Those who witnessed it might be taken. Those who ignored its omens might suffer loss. Even the safest could not keep out its sound, the safest homes. Like Halloween's trick-or-treaters, it came in a procession demanding recognition, reminding mortals of the thin veil between our worlds. Folklore tells of people dragged from their homes, carried through the sky, returned broken, or never returned at all. Some were forced to ride with the hunt forever. Others escaped by throwing themselves flat, face in the dirt, while the storm raged above. The hunt was more than a ghost story. It explained the world. Sudden deaths, storms, disappearances, all were blamed on the riders. Farmers might find their fields blighted after hearing the hunt. A village struck by plague might say it had been cursed by the passing host. The hunt became a way of interpreting disaster, of giving shape to chaos. And that's happened throughout history. People need an explanation for things. So if they can't explain it with science, like, many centuries ago, they create these stories that became, a reason for why things happen. It gave some form of explanation to explain just pure chaos. And like Halloween, it was also a way of controlling fear by telling the story, by warning children, by bowing to the earth. When the storm passed, people gave themselves rules for survival, ritual against terror, folklore against chaos. So it was just a way to calm yourself. Over centuries, people began to imitate what they feared. Festivals of masked riders and ghostly parades echoed the hunt. In parts of Germany and Scandinavia, processions of masked figures paraded through villages in midwinter, carrying horns, wearing antlers, leading hounds. Some were grotesque, some were noble, but together they reenacted the storm of spirits. And again, this is where the link to Halloween shines brightest. Those processions looked a lot like our favorite October, right? Disguises, masks, noises, and fire to chase away fear. Halloween parades and masquerades are echoes of this same impulse to dress as the spirits, to mock or embody them, and to turn terror into festivity. Humans have a way of turning everything into a party, right? So why does the Wild Hunt matter for Halloween? Because it is Halloween in another season. It is a procession of the dead. It is costumes, it is masks, noise, rituals. It is fear made communal. Trick-or-treating at its heart is the Wild Hunt in miniature. Spirits at your door, demanding something in tribute, moving in a crowd, reminding you that the boundary between life and death is very thin, and simply reminding you of the dead. The hunt and Halloween both teach us the same lesson. The dead walk among us, and we must honor, fear, and play with them or risk being carried away. It reminds me of that scene in The Shining. Come play with us, Danny. At its heart, Halloween is about processions, the dead visiting the living dressing as the dead. The hunt is the same ritual on a cosmic scale. It is not children in costumes, but spirits in the sky. It is not candy at the door, but souls torn from the earth. Yet the meaning is identical. The veil thins, the dead walk, and the living must honor them or pay the price. So the Wild Hunt did not end with folklore. It entered literature and art. Medieval poets described it. Wagner composed operas with echoes of it. We know The Ride of the Valkyries, right? Modern fantasy, from Tolkien to video games, has borrowed its imagery. Riders in storms, spectral hosts, furious hunts. Even the Nazgul of The Lord of the Rings are shadows of the hunt, black riders in pursuit of the living. So all of these folklore, all of this history, mythology, all makes its way somehow into pop culture and modern culture, because that's what happens with stories. They just keep getting passed on, right? Halloween itself has absorbed these echoes: haunted hayrides, ghost parades, even the image of horsemen riding through October nights. All are modern hunts, reshaped for new fears. And it just reminds me of the song Johnny Cash, Riders in the Sky, or Riders of the Storm. I can't remember exactly the name of it. You know what I'm talking about. And now, after researching this, that song means so much more to me. I've always loved it, but now it's like, oh, that's what he's talking about. And then there's a Doors song too, right? Riders of the Storm. All this stuff, pop culture, right? So the Wild Hunt teaches us that fear travels. It moves from storm to story, from God to ghost, from ritual to festival. It shifts, but it never dies. Just as Halloween adapted across centuries and will continue to do so, the hunt has survived by changing masks. The Wild Hunt connects us to figures we've already met: Odin, Herne, Perchta, Krampus, and it will carry us towards others, spectral horses like the Mari Lud. I'm saying that wrong, I'm sure. Witches like Holda, and haunted rides in folklore worldwide. Each thread ties back to Halloween's eternal tapestry of masks and monsters. And this is something I may visit in future podcasts, because learning about these other, similar but not exactly Halloween folklore stories is wonderful. Each one of these is, in its own way, related to the hunt and to Halloween. And that's part of this whole series I've been doing, is tying things to Halloween that you might not think about. So what's the moral of the story? Listen closely the next time a storm rages, the next time dogs howl at seemingly nothing. My dogs do that constantly. The next time the wind rattles the eaves like hooves across a roof. It may only be the weather, or it may be the Wild Hunt, still riding, still chasing, swift and merciless, gathering souls in their wake. And remember, what we call Halloween is only one night in a much larger calendar of shadows. The Wild Hunt is proof that spirits never rest. There is a calendar full of wonderful holidays and folklore and legends and stories like this that I'm going to continue to talk to you about and put in these little short mini histories. And I'm hoping that these want you to explore this stuff on your own. So thanks again for listening. Until next time, stay strange, stay curious, stay spooky, and always preserve Halloween.